Falcons, but you do have some form of save as well from LGD. So I think it's a little bit easier to play. As the game scales on as well, you are going to have this big wombo combo with a supernova and a black hole. And a classic stellar combination of physics coming on hand. So there's more. It's a little bit more forgiving for LGD to maybe slow the game down a little bit more.
Well, Lane already a bit of a group up here from the side of Falcons. They might run right into Shiro. Shiro can actually break the smoke of Amar. Like they are going to be well aware that Falcons were looking for a very early team fight here against LGD, and of course LGD just going to move their way back towards the tier 1 mid tower. I suppose if you are LGD, you're not exactly interested in a level 1 team fight with these heroes. You know, it's not exactly a Enigma's not exactly a level 1 team fight kind of hero that you're expecting here. And well, Falcons, they are going to just retreat and maybe just relocate, see if they can find another angle.
Yeah, just maybe try to force the skirmish out. I'm really curious as to how the lane goes for Neo. I think that's going to be the interesting bit here for LGD. Just Enigma. It's still a really annoying hero. With a Malefice, there's some really good kill threat that can come out with PYW. Oh.
I mean, there's more heroes here. Like, you can't really escape if you're LGD right now. They're going to run right into you. PYW being targeted, but they are going to leave him be. Meanwhile, Skidder now getting stunned up with the Malefice of New. But grenade will land as well. Skidder still running, still getting hit by the Fire Spirits, but looked... the Fire Spirit, it is going to connect, but it's going to be just fine. He'll survive, just barely.
Gonna have to take a little bit of a walk back, but at least has that freebie TP to go back in. Nice little play from Snaking to get just that additional regen with a tether under the tier 2 tower. They do get away with an extra bounty, so you're feeling pretty good here on Falcons. All bounties actually coming out there for Falcons, so you've got a good head start. Taking a look at that bot lane here, you've got Shiro on the Lifestealer and Y on his Phoenix, Amar on his Mars, and Crit on the Weaver. Setting up this lane nicely, already having that preemptive sentry to ensure that Crit can just be annoying in this lane. It's going to be maybe a little bit harder to shove Shiro out once he has a few levels. Like this lane for LGD is very level dependent. Phoenix wants to get up into level 3, Shiro probably wants to hit 3, 4 until you start to feel comfier. You are playing into a melee strength hero, so Lifestealer is not going to be that annoyed, but it's still a lot of early burst damage here from Falcons if they find the lineup.
Absolutely. Of course, mid lane, Emo and Maureen going to be going at it. Emo, I mean, the panel said it, John. It's been a while since we've had the pleasure of watching this man in the mid lane. I personally love Emo. You know me, Jonathan. I'm a big fan of this man, but how do you think? Like, the Lina versus DK, obviously a very boring static lane, like you mentioned earlier. Does anything happen, John?
Not in particular. You're just sitting there farming, you're going to be clearing the waves on both ends, maybe you get some good rotations out, and that's where LGD has to step it up. Again, when you pick that Tiny for PYW, you've got the burst with the Tiny and the Lina. You can make an early rotation, say 4-6 minute water runes, and you can feel kind of good if you find that lineup. So it's mainly on those support rotations onto the mid to break that up.
Because what was that final lane? Of course, top lane, you had Snaking and Skidder going at it here against PYW and New. And Winter has been calling out this offlane Enigma throughout this this group stage, at least for day 1, and here it is from New. What are you thinking? Is there an advantage to be had one way or the other here at the top lane?
This is a little bit farmy too. You can get, again, pretty aggressive when you Malefice and line up like this.
Oh, Skidder. Tossback is there. New going to go back and just drag him even further back as Skidder. He's going to be okay, but it's a fair bit of damage being dealt his way.
Yeah, not enough to really threaten. Snaking has his wand, his stick. He has a Fairy Fire. They've got Burst Regen on hand. Lotus Pool control feels really pivotal here for LGD. So you don't want to hand that over to the IO lane. And see how well PYW does control so far. Finding stable enough farm, it is a little bit easier for Skidder to just free farm. Like that laning pressure from Enigma isn't really shining out. You can't really play too much with the Eidolons as well, just because, well, you've got Flak to play with here.
Yeah, you certainly do. Well, so far, no kills happening across the map, almost 3 minutes in. You got kind of close top lane, but that was about it. Both sides just more than happy to secure some creeps here. You're seeing mid lane Maureen having a very good time on the Dragon Knight against that Lina. We'll see Emo again, can't really do much about the DK. You've just got to kind of accept the fact that he is going to have a very good mid lane timing as Crit. Double couriers his way, very, very nice. Weaver just being very pesky, and I believe there was tangos on one of those couriers, so it's very, very worth for Crit to get that done.
A nice little snipe, a little bit of economy going our way. You're not cut off too badly on regen for LGD. Still at least have 1 tango left. You're eventually going to hit level 3 on Y, so you can try to apply that pressure. But the one thing that is difficult for LGD here, at least in the bot lane, is you can't really look for this as a kill lane. Even if you have that damage, you don't have the control. So even if Crit's a little bit softer, you've got the sentries on. he's still going to be able to just poke the backline, make it maybe a little bit more uncomfy for Y to consider his position and consider his HP usage for harassment here.
I mean, it seems like ATF and Crit are very happy. Just look at the damage ATF deals. That rebuke is... I mean, Shiro obviously farming extremely well on the lifestealer, just trading a lot of farm here between these two teams. But a 2k advantage has been established by Falcons. See a lot of that gold coming from the mid lane for the DK, and of course the Gyrocopter as well, having an extremely good time as Shiro. Take a bit of damage on the way out. In fact, he could be in danger. Blood Grenade is going to land. Shiro's still trying to run, but Crit going to chase him down along with ATF. They will secure first blood.
Yeah, just no way to cut off that chase. So again, very durable, no Sunray up.
Oh, top lane snaking. He's got no tether available. He just used it. Very, very good timing from PYW, just jumping in as soon as he saw that, and a nice easy kill to go the way of LGD now.
And kill threats are coming out in both side lanes. It's really off lanes with a little bit more control or kill threat on both sides. You still feel really good in Falcons. You can find a first blood, you're slowing down Lifestealer. And that's a little bit of a risk if the Lifestealer falls behind. He kind of wants to get some early timings. You want to play aggressive. You kind of want to tie in with, say, your tiny blink timing if possible, and just start to connect from there. So we'll see how well Shiro can kind of hold this lane. He's still doing fine in CS. He's not lagging too far behind. But when you compare that to a Gyrocopter, even though the lead isn't massive, we know how fast the Gyro can farm with a flat cannon up and running.
Bottom lane again, Shiro. He get jumped here by ATF. Slow is there. Shiro still just trying to get out of there, but Crit is chasing him down along with ATF. Both heroes now dropping extremely low. ATF has a spear available. He'll chuck it out, but misses the snipe. Shiro barely avoiding it, but I bet he felt the wind on the backside there.
That he did. Still, again, not too much sustain left. Shared Tango only. It's rough right now for LGD down bot. Again, this is going to kind of exponentially increase in difference once you have this Gyrocopter in a very comfy time to farm. Lifestealer just doesn't farm at the same pace. So I don't think they're doing enough to slow down top in relation to how slow Shiro's lane is going down bot.
Absolutely not right now, they don't. PYW. Top lane looking to loop around, see if he can find himself a target, and he has found Skidder. Skidder looking for a toss back here from PYW. We'll get to New. New setting up perfectly. Is now Skidder. Really has nowhere to go. He'll try to run towards the T1 top tower. Does have stick charges and now snaking. Barely saving the day is Skidder. Gonna try to turn. Why you smile is gone. In comes Crit now looking at New. I mean, he's gonna get the beetle placed on him, and he is just as good as dead. Very good timing there from Snaking and Crit to really save the life of Skidder.
Now, I like the idea from LGD. They know that they have to kind of slow down this Gyrocopter. They don't see the IO. They feel like it's a free movement up, but the response from Falcons, very timely. And again, you've built up your stick charges. It doesn't feel great. They might have been able to get more if you managed to get some movement out as well from Emo, but he can't leave mid. You've got the Dragon form up, you've got the slow shove coming in from Malrine, so they take advantage of that, tie in the mid.
Crit! Oh, he's trying, but he can't quite get it. New does get the click, and well, PYW obviously with the Avalanche going to ensure that Crit really had no chance in taking the Wisdom Rune away. They will still have their own Wisdom Rune to go back to, though. Nobody from LGD trying to snipe the one of Falcons is now snaking. He chased, but does get a very nice tether back towards Skidder. They'll know that the rotations are there, so LGD, while they do secure their Wisdom Rune, aren't really going to find too much else out of this rotation.
Not too much. And they lose their top tower as well, so the map's opening a little bit more for Falcons to feel secure in their forward top jungle. Again, you've got this free space down mid for Malrine, who he's had a phenomenal time on the DK. Top in CS, he's had a free shove in with his first use of Elder Dragon form. Quarter HP down on the mid. Could try to go for it again, keeping Emo tied in as much as possible on that mid lane, preventing any rotations out, or preventing any rotations from coming in as well, which is what the panel was looking at. They wanted to see that aggression coming in from PYW on the mid rotation. Hasn't lined up at all. Yeah,
it certainly hasn't. You've got to give props to Malrine. Like, it might be a hero advantage he has going his way, but he has put a lot of pressure on Emo here in this mid lane, and now the fight comes for the 8-minute power runes. Crit going to miss out on that, but does go straight after Emo, forcing the Avalanche early from PYW, but that's going to be more than enough to allow his mid laner to get away. But now Malrine, he has the mid T1 tower just opened up for him. It's just kind of the thing, like, how do you defend against this?
You don't have enough just yet in LGD. They've dragged the numbers in. You're a long way off from finding like level 6 spikes on your supports, especially for Y.
Another one. New's coming in now, snaking. I mean, he might be the sacrificial lamb. They're going to try and make the jump onto the IO, but I mean, for 4 heroes to rotate, I think Snaking is more than okay with dying here.
Oh, he definitely is. Look at the space on the map. Free top lane for Skitter to farm in. They've still done substantial damage on that mid-tier 1, down to less than half HP.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of lining up for Falcons early on, even in the kill board, but 5k lead built up from all these small wins on economy.
And even the rotations down towards the bottom side, like there's plenty of vision to scout this out thanks to Crit. Emo around the corner, Crit just, continuing to be a bit of a nuisance with his own positioning as LGD just not able to really get any kind of surprise off. Shiro, meanwhile, bottom lane going to cop a spear from ATF, but looks like they're more than happy to just keep the farm game going. If you're LGD, you're kind of playing catch-up now, already 5k net worth behind. Crit even just sticking around the lane and just maybe getting a little bit of XP his way. I think Maureen looking towards that mid-tier 1 tower once again, and here we go. I mean, Dragon Form popped, just hit the tier 1 tower. Do you want to defend LGD? I mean, they are trying, but with 2 heroes there, there's just no chance.
Yeah, nah.
Nice
they do
deny.
get the deny, at the
Nice
very
deny.
least. Yeah, it's a nice little pickup, but again, the map space is growing for the side of Falcons, and again, it's just the way they're playing around the map, applying pressure where they can, giving free space out for Skitter to just free farm. Even Amar's not threatened, while he's just playing basically solo down bot. Lifestealer can't really do anything about that. Everyone's tied up on the side of LGD. Again, we talked about this early in the lane, but this...
Crit.
Oh.
Nice toss back onto YU Smile, but Crit is a weaver. He'll go for a run. Sakuchi back up in 5.
Oh.
Light Trucker Ray juked out as well, forcing the Laguna. Oh, I thought that was about to be a deny from that Wild Wing Ripper, but not quite. Emo barely able to secure the kill. Again, Crit just on this weaver, just causing so much havoc here for LGD.
It's such a massive nuisance, forcing the early carrying of dust sentries to just ensure that they're safe, forcing this huge movement out just for the support weaver. It's just not achieving anything on the map. It's a nice pickup to find, but it's not enough to offset this start. And Falcons, again, there's just nothing stopping this kind of playstyle. Amar is just holding his lane. You're not managing to match that farm on Shiro, even though he's not being threatened out. You do have, again, level 6s are somewhat lining up. Maybe you reach this point where you hit the egg, you hit perhaps the BKB timing for new. That's when you can start to be a little bit more comfy. Try to aim for at least a 2-man black hole, or even just one on a slippery hero. You can build off of that. The bigger thing is maybe something like the Blink for PYW. That is also something like they just don't have a very easy way of starting these fights. Whereas for Falcons, it's just Shukuchi in.
Nice Icarus dive away, but Crit is right behind him. If they want to try and make the jump in, it seems like they will. Y can do nothing about it. And in comes Skitter now. Shiro, he's in pretty big danger. He'll go for the Infest play away, but the arena is down, and ATF is not going to allow him to get away, though Shiro does rage to run, but Crit is just keeping up all the vision, gets the blood grenade. Shiro, he's just got no gameplay. Look, what do you do, Falcons? They're just rotating so effectively across the map. In LGD, they are just finding nothing for their trouble.
That they aren't. And they're playing to their tempo really well on the side of Falcons. They understand that LGD just went off on slower lanes, have to wait for these item timings, have to wait for these level spikes.
Oh, ATF, he's found another one. He's got the Enigma now, New. Gonna go for a bit of a run, but in comes Skitter and Snaking running right towards New as the hands are up. ATF will wave him goodbye. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. Now 4-6, but more importantly a 7k advantage 12 minutes in. That's a problem. That's
a problem. It's a massive lead for Falcons early. They've lost all their tier 1s in LGD. Again, it's just an issue of map control. You're playing up against an IO Gyro, an IO DK. They can be anywhere on the map. They're farming insanely well on pretty much all of their cores right now on the side of Falcons. And LGD just hasn't been able to exert that effort. Again, just no rotations onto mid. They're stuck in the side lanes. They'll try for a smoke out now. If they find a much more substantial pickoff, it would be nice, but all they see is Crit.
All they see is Crit. Now, PYW is going to try. He'll rotate past the mid-river. Crit still hanging around that area, but it's not an easy target. It is a weaver after all. They are still going to try and loop around and get him, and they have got the Laguna out, so PYW able to set up nicely against the Crit Weaver. In fact, I believe that may have been the Light Strike Ray landing first. There you go. They do get something, but here comes Falcon's top lane. New in trouble. Jump is there from ATF. They've got the spear out, and that's a much better kill.
Yeah, just like that. Just in the snap, New disappears, and again, it's just this timing from Falcons. They get this blink on Amar. He's just all over the place. They have that easy initiation. which is again, something that LGD kind of lacks. You have the blink being queued up now here on PYW, a while ago who's kind of trying for phase boots, realizes the blink is a necessity in this game. They've also got, you know, Supernova and Black Hole ready. The issue is I don't see an easy way for them to connect both of the spells at this moment. Until that BKB's up on you, your combo is not going to go off in its full potential just yet.
Oh, bottom lane, they might run into somebody here. What's that?
Oh.
Got somebody. It looks like
PYW?
PYW does get caught out on the Tiny here down at bottom lane, but barely running. The Beatles still giving the vision, though, and Crit just gets the kill. In fact, it was Maureen. Just the DPS over time, just getting it done.
Yeah, just caught him out, and that's a big hero to stall out. Again, that blink timing, every single second it's not there, it feels really hard for LGD. They have managed to let Shiro farm into the Midas, so he's got some recovery farm built in. He's going for the armlet next. There can be some plays that start to come in. It feels like it's hanging on this blink for Tiny. It's hanging on this BKB for their Enigma. And as long as they don't lose tier 2s, I think that's kind of your goal now on LGD. Prevent Falcons from taking more of the map away from you. Hug what you can. Hold what you can defend here for LGD, and just try to build back into the point where this strong team fight that you've drafted for yourself can finally kick in. And, you know, it's in the draft here for LGD where, again, you need levels. Like, this Phoenix needs a lot of levels to start to melt these strength cores. Sunray's still stuck at level 1. It's going to be a while until you can really put a dent in this sustain that Falcons has.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a timing-based kind of game here for LGD. Just drag this out as long as possible. Are going to get scouted by PYW. They'll go for the Avalanche and the Toss combination. ATF going to drop the arena here, trying to defensively get the hell out as the Laguna is there, but ATF, he just casually walks out. No problem.
And gets a really good spot to block off the patting, so it's a good move. It's just not good enough. You know, Omar's just happy to rotate back through the gate, go back to farm. They've got Roche control now as well, which doesn't take too long when you've got the Weaver bugs around, even at the value point, and they'll just get that done. So they dodge the gank, they force out the Laguna, they force all of this movement and just go across and take another objective. They've got to be able to hold.
I mean, he could be a real hero here, this Phoenix. If you can time this right, why, this could be a real big deal for LGD. In fact, they kind of need it to happen. Why's going to stick around. We'll see how well he can play the guessing game. Falcons still going. Fire Spirits are there, but no. He won't throw any out. He's got no vision. Why, at the very least, does save himself.
Yeah, he tries for it at the very least, knows the information's there. They've got the wards to spot that movement across, but it's scary. This is the moment where Falcons with the Aegis can start to look for those tier 2s, can start to knock on the high ground and really shrink down that map. And you still need a lot of catch-up for him here. The core difference is just massive. You know, your highest farm is on Emo, 6.9k, about a good 1.4 behind. It's not a great feeling for LGD, lacking that burst play that we were expecting, lacking that counter sustain that we were looking for, that massive team fight. Falcons, they've got the itemization already up and running. They've got that full Ags up on Skitter along with Crystallis. He's got a lot of output. You've got that same build Kezu was mentioning on the DK, going for the Mantis style on Malorine with the Blink up, has the Midas up. So they're really playing their tempo well here in Falcons, and it's down to LGD. They've got to weather the storm until they have their own tools, until that BKB's up at the very least.
Here we go, Falcons. Bottom tier 2 tower is now being targeted. PYW was around but just leaves the area, realizing he cannot do anything by himself. Falcons, they're going to get away with a very early tier 2 tower by the looks of it. Lift will be forced, but Skitter is not retreating. He wants to keep going. In top lane, they do have the option for ATF, but ATF's the one to jump in. Why? He's the one to get caught, and is there any help coming? Well, ATF's going to leave. It's not about the kill, John. It's about sending a message.
Yeah, too low on mana, Soul Ring on cooldown, so couldn't quite go for the burst play. Couldn't go for the right-click side or with the Fire Spirits running.
Unfortunate.
But he is holding the Mac. Like that slows down this movement onto the tier 1. That frees up that movement for the tier 2 bot. All of LGD is basically hanging around top. Tier 2 mid now is clear for them to keep pushing in. Like there's no answer for this tempo coming out from Falcons. It's all just trying to prevent the bleeding on LGD, but they can't fight back just yet, although TPs are coming in at least.
Tier 2 mid tower is a bit of a bigger deal, I'd argue, here in LGD, just kind of accepting that they cannot allow this to go the way of Falcons for free. They'll rotate, but Falcons more than happy with what they see. Plenty of rotations happening here into the mid lane, so they just retreat. You know, this is just all wasted time for LGD. They're just stuck waiting around this area. Look at Crit. What's Crit up to? He's just messing with them now.
Oh.
In comes PYW. Does get the avalanche into the toss back and Crit. He does get the time lapse, but they'll land the light strike array. Crit. It's just demoralizing to watch them. Like, you've got 4 heroes around to support Weaver, and now Shiro. Not Shiro! He gets infested, but Shiro, he'll run. But he's down. God. The armlet toggle not going to work out for him. Is now New's in trouble. Skidder just getting tossed right in, but he won't mind. Willie, the egg is down, but they've lost New. They've lost the Phoenix as well, and it seems like Falcons may have just made LGD lose this game because it's looking a little bit too one-sided.
That it is. They chase so far for the Weaver. They lack the Laguna for burst on the follow-up, and it's just too much commitment for that Weaver. That's been the first game. Amar!
Hey, ATF, you gotta calm down, sir. I mean, he's got his BKB up, but ATF's looking a little bit too cocky here, John.
You know, that's just how Amar plays. When he's ahead, he wants to be further ahead. He wants to try to keep them down here in LGD, but these racks are certainly falling down. They do still have the tier 2 standing on mid and top, so at the very least, mega creeps for secondary racks isn't a possibility just yet. But again, it's still the waiting game for LGD. They're dropping egg. We haven't seen a black hole from New just yet. And, you know, he had a decent lane. We saw some lane kills. The laning pressure was there from the Enigma, but that teamfight contribution you're looking for as it scales up, it's not quite there, as we can see again in this replay.
Yeah, it was a rough team fight. Like, they tossed Skidder in. PYW trying to get something for his team, but Skidder, I think, just accepted. Just thank you very much for the free ride, and just cleans up. It's just so tough as now New getting caught by ATF. I mean, you've got the black hole if you want to throw it out, but you know, New's just going to run. He's going to try to run as ATF. He'll keep the chase up here with Snaking. They've got the homing missile. I mean, New, I suppose at the very least, is buying his team a little bit of time, but it's going to be another kill to go the way of the offlane Mars. Looks like maybe now they just go right after the Tormentor on the Radiant side. PYW could stick around, see if he can snipe himself a target, but doesn't seem like that's going to quite happen.
Yep. Nice little shard as well for Crit to find. So a little bit more coming out with that Shukuchi with marks. And yeah, I mean, 6-13, 20k lead for Falcons. The one thing LGD has, again, is this high ground threat. Is this black hole that will eventually come out. They've almost got the BKB gold up for New. And he's got it now. So they can try for something. They've got to make something happen on that next knock Falcon gives them.
Mid lane. PYW will just retreat. Would still get caught out though, like they are wrapping. ATF, yeah, we know this guy just does not get intimidated by anyone. He's always going to go for the jump. Just look at this! New forced the BKB up. Here comes the cavalry. Black hole is committed though. New, he might have turned this one around. They're going to try for Snaking on the IM, but no! Oh, Snaking, he finally goes down. But what is it going to cost LGD? It seems like the price is going to be high here, John, as Falcons. They will continue the chase. They'll at least finish off the range racks, but it's a 2-for-1 trade. I mean, you lost your IO, but who cares?
I mean, that's a massive commitment from LGD. It looked like a good turn from New, but that means on his respawn, no black hole. That means you're relying fully on the Supernova to try to turn things around. They forced the buyback out from PYW, so Falcons will show some respect, but without the threat of black hole for all that time, for at least 2 minutes, it's scary. Great patience from New, just not enough.
Certainly not enough. I mean, even the Laguna Blade coming out and Snaking, but he just survives a little bit longer and just forces Shura to focus him down throughout this engagement. And it's just, once you've got the IO, it's like, okay, we got something, but it seems like we need to get the hell out.
Evo had to kill that IO with a right click. So I think he walked back. That gave enough time for Snaking to use his mech right before he died.
Right.
Which was just enough regen for them to withstand that storm. Like, he had to find that kill. I get the confidence with the Laguna. It's just again, not enough. You're not doing enough damage. You don't have your Ags on this Lina, which we saw was an issue as well in other games. When Lina doesn't have that Ags, you're not flying around, you don't have that as spell amplification on hand. It's just not as menacing as it should be. And that timing for Emo does feel pretty late. It's coming up. He's only about 170 gold away, so
it's coming.
There is going to be play. Again, all of these things are slowly lining up for LGD, but they've lost so much of the map. Just way too much to try to hold back Falcons.
Oh, we'll see if this Axe does change the game here from Emo. does officially now buy out the Blade of Alacrity, so it's on the way. They need every little bit of damage that they can get here on the side of LGD, and, well, there you go. Ag's now up. Still a 23k advantage the way of Falcons, which, you know, it's a pretty tough time here for LGD, that's for sure. As Falcons now taking the Radiant Triangle away. Satanic fully completed on Skitter, which makes life even harder. You know, like, you focus the IO, but now he's got a Satanic.
Yep. I mean, even if you stun this guy up, the side gunner will give a little bit of value healing, especially if you manage to pop that Satanic right before something like the Black Hole comes out.
Yep.
So looking for the burst play onto Skitter is just that much harder. All outer towers gone for LGD. It's difficult for them to try to take Roche control as well. By the respawn timer, it does look like it will be a nighttime spawn up north for Falcons to seek out if they want to wait for that timer. And they've got the full Ags up in Malrine. Like this, it's difficult to see this turnaround. Like, it has to be perfect execution from LGD. It's got to be this really nice Black Hole onto at least 2 with the egg this time around, and with instant burst onto the IO while that control is there.
It does feel like there is a lot of pressure on you, that's for sure. The game is in his hands at the moment. You could make the argument perhaps PYW could also kind of set up nicely with the Avalanche Toss on a single target, but we've seen him do that quite a few times now, and generally they just struggle with the target he throws to them. So we'll see as they do smoke up. A 5-man smoke here from LGD. The Infest is there onto PYW. They will run somewhat towards Falcons, but Falcons are just hanging around their own dire triangle now. And it seems like LGD, they will decide to go through the Twin Gates instead. If there is a target top lane, they're going to find Crit perhaps, but Crit, he's a slippery man though. No, they found Skitter. BKB pop, Skitter, he's going to man up. Black Hole is there. They do at least find snaking, but can they do it? Skitter, he's just giga chatting it up. They cannot get the damage out. Shiro is gone. So is Emo in the back. Genius call.
Oh my god. I mean, that was just the worst timing you could ask for.
What a mess.
From LGD. They see the TP in, they feel like they can burst him down with the Satanic up and the side gunner. It's just too much